Chris, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me still?
No.
Now we do.
Yep.
Now you do. Okay.
Yep.
You're a long ways away, Chris. You got to talk loud.
Okay.
Yeah. And unmute Leah. Hi, honey. Can you hear me?
I can now. I just got it figured out.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm just trying to. I am. Can you see me properly? Am I on the right camera?
Yeah, you're on the camera on top of the monitor.
Yay! I did it!
Hello.
Okay, everyone's super quiet though. Is that my sound or yours?
Everybody's muted.
No, they're really quiet. No, you sound super quiet.
I do, hey?
Yeah, does everybody else hear him okay, or is that just me?
Because it was working really well before.
Yeah, Elizabeth says you're really quiet too. Noxie! Okay. It's so nice to see you.
That's better, right?
Yeah, I can hear you properly now. That sounds good.
Okay. So when I flip, I'm going to be doing a little bit of flipping to my computer. And when I do that, I'm going to have to take a second to mute my phone because of the way this works. Anyway, first of all, welcome from Calgary. I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta today. Leah is still at home there. She just came back from having a great, nice little supper. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish my lovely wife a happy birthday. That's tomorrow. So everybody, well, you can't say anything. I know. I can. Yes, clap. There we go. Yes. Okay. So happy birthday, Leah. And I want to thank you guys for coming. I know you have busy schedules, and it's really great to see so many people take time out of their schedule to make this a priority, because you have quite a big opportunity on your hand, and we're happy to share it with you. So, agenda. So as you read in the Facebook post, I don't know if you did read it, but if you did, it says, I'm a new rep. With new reps, now what? So I know lots of you are, some of you are new to the company, lots of you have been here that are going to listen to this a little later, have been around for maybe a little longer. And we want to go over some material regarding bringing on new people and having new people join your business, and what to do and how to help them and how to make them comfortable with what they're doing, because it's really important. It's yeah, I'll go into that in a minute. I'm going to save a little bit of time for Q&A, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to try and keep this relatively short. 7:35 is my goal. What's up?
So we say that every week though.
Yeah, but I am going to do it this time, and we're going to stop, and then we're going to say, okay, we're officially done. If anybody wants to stick around and talk, we will. But let's get through the material first, and then we'll go from there. So Q&A, 5 to 10 minutes. And then if we have some time, we'll go through one win and one challenging issue that somebody's faced, which we kind of do all the time. So to get this off, kind of right, I want to talk about, before somebody comes on board and joins your business, I want to touch on something called exposures. And one of the things that we've learned over our journey of learning how this business it becomes successful is to use exposures. And we've gleaned a lot of knowledge from a number of material that we've read and listened to and have implemented. And it's just right. And we kind of had our own ideas a little bit, but you know what? We just kind of point to what works. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did post a document on our TrimTeam Facebook group, and it's called Eric Worre Go Pro. It is on YouTube. I have it on Audible, which is an audiobook, and it's a book written by Eric Worre, who's a very successful network marketer, and he really, really does a great job of, well, convincing people that this is a profession, something that you should take serious, and something that you can do without reinventing a wheel. And he goes through the steps, all the steps: prospecting, how to bring on a new person, and what to do afterwards. So I'm going to take a little bit about what he said, a little bit about what we know, and kind of meld Valentis into what he says. So before I get going on what to do when you have a new person, I want to talk about what the best way is to have a new person come on board. So exposures. An exposure is, this is Valentis. Exposure is, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? This is what's happening with me. An exposure is, I'm part of a great new company. He goes through a number of different examples on how to do this, but really it's about, the goal is to educate and inform people as to what it is you're doing and why it might benefit them. So, and it's important to know that you're not going to talk to somebody and then you're not going to talk to somebody and immediately have them join your business. It's going to take sometimes 4 or 5 exposures before they decide to do anything. And I want you to make sure that you take your exposures and your goals. So the goal of every exposure is to set up a date for the next one. That should be the end. And I'm going to not talk about this specifically, but I'd like for you to listen to it. It's in there as a chapter for how to do these exposures, and also how to get confirmation on what people are going to do, when they're going to do it, and then make sure that you as a professional follow up with them in a timely manner when you say you're going to. And that follow up, and how to deal with it. It's really, really quite good. So I want to show you where that is real quick. I'm going to do the screen share. Let's hope this works. Go here. There. Okay, so that link right there, the Eric Worre links. You can see all the different links that you can go to. So if you click on that document, you can then go and click on each one of those and go through it one at a time. About half an hour long, and he goes through the entire book.
That must have taken you a long time to put together.
Not too bad, not too bad. So, okay, so that's exposures. You're welcome. So, like I said, the goal of an exposure is to get a date and time for the next exposure. And some people, and I know that it's very easy to do because you get excited about somebody that comes on board to your business, but then it's, okay, what do I do now? Or maybe you don't know what to do. But it's very easy to not do anything with them. And that's the challenge, is to make sure that you continue the process, because just because somebody made an order on your site does not mean that they're going to be successful. It doesn't mean that they're going to continue with your business. And the goal here is residual income. And if you don't do a good job of making sure people come in the right way, then they have a higher tendency to not continue because of lack of education or lack of whatever it is that might be causing them to go somewhere else. So
we always tell people when they start this business that they're going into business for themselves, but they're not going into business by themselves. And what Chris is talking about is super important. With, if you let someone sign up and then you just let them go off on their own, that's where you get the highest rate of failure in the network marketing industry. It's almost 80%. And that's because they don't have the right team environment and the right system to train them and support them and for them to plug into. And what Chris and I wanted to do tonight with this training is to show you guys a simple step-by-step formula that if you can step into those steps and do them yourself, then what you're doing is you're showing every other person that you enroll how to duplicate what you did, because everyone's going to come on board and do what you do. So as an enroller, your job is to lay those steps out correctly, and then hopefully the people that you're talking to follow in your footsteps, and that becomes duplication. That becomes residual income that Chris is talking about. So go ahead. I like that saying. I just wanted to say that. We always tell everybody, you're in business for yourself. Congratulations. But you're not in business by yourself. So please make sure you plug in. That's super, super important.
Okay, so now that you know what I was talking about with the exposures, as far as, making sure that you follow up with a time and date as to when you're going to get in touch with them, then let's go through the step-by-step ways that you can bring on a new person. Now, there's 2 ways that somebody's going to come into Valentis specifically. They're going to come in either as a preferred customer / product user, or they're going to be an independent representative with the idea that they want to do this as a business. And your approaches are fairly similar. It's just the one that's going to do the business is going to have a little more detail, a little more things that are going to go on, and you're going to continue more in depth with them and have, you know, more time to deal with them, more time to help them. So the first step that you get a new person is to congratulate them. They need to have that positive reinforcement the instant they click that button. So congratulations, you started a new business, or congratulations, you've made a step towards a healthier you. Whatever it is that you choose to do, make sure that you call them and congratulate them as soon as you get that welcome or that email stating that you've got a new person in your business. So the second step is to try and arrange a three-way call with another member who's going to do the exact same thing. They're going to validate. And that's super important, because then, you know, they've made a decision. You call and say, wow, you made a great decision. Then a third party says, wow, you've made a great decision. Well, it must be a great decision that I made. And so you'll have a lot less people that are, you know, wondering about that down the, sorry, honey, I can see little notifications coming up on the screen. So once you've done your three-way call, the end of that call should be an arrangement for your follow-up. And what's really important is the follow-up approximately when their order should be in. So put it in your calendar, this person ordered on this day, and then 6 days later, or roughly, you're going to give them a shout back, see if they got their order, and obviously they're going to say, yeah, I got it in the mail, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great, this is exciting. And so that's when you kind of go into two different paths. If they're just a product user, then this is actually pretty simple. 90% of people that buy a product are going to be interested in weight loss. There are some exceptions to that rule, but the majority of them. So it's real important to start with product usage. And we've run into this time and time again. Maybe, Leah, you can give an example of someone who got the product and maybe didn't give product usage instructions and how that worked out.
I have this happen quite often because I tend to be the person who does the follow-up once somebody's received their products. And I found that more often than not, people are actually not taking them correctly. I wish I could assume the other way, but it's actually not true. Most people aren't taking the products right. And one of the things that I think that ends up happening is they get a bit of a information dump in the very beginning. There's so much going on. And I remember when Chris and I were first enrolled, I felt the same way. There was so much going on. And now if I was to talk to me from a year ago, there's, you know, step 1, 2, and 3 that I would just go do. But I didn't know what was important. And we didn't have 12and24.com when we first got started. That's a new tool that's come along. And so when we have people now, we tell them, go to 12and24.com, and it's going to explain to you all the products, how to take the products. There's a measurement chart. It's going to explain to you to take your before and after photos, to weigh yourself, how to write all those numbers down, and how to take the products and at what time of the day. Guarantee you 80% of the time, someone says, I don't have the instructions, and turns out I've been taking the products wrong. Even though we know, Chris and I tell them, because it's even in the email that we send, make sure you go to 12and24.life or 12and24.com. It's right there. 12 and 24 plan, how do you take it? Instruction sheets is on the far right-hand side where it says lifestyle instruction sheets. That is all right on the website. So I was talking to a lady yesterday who said, I just followed up with her and said, hi, I'm following up with you. I know that you got your products yesterday or the day before. How's it going? And this does two things. If they have an objection, I can respond to that objection quickly and I can nip it in the bud. If you don't follow up with them quickly, let's say they take the products for 3 or 4 weeks the wrong way, they probably have literally a bad taste in their mouths or not as much results. And now they're angry because they're 3 to 4 weeks in, they're almost done their full first month's order, and they think this stuff doesn't work. Meanwhile, they actually were just not taking it properly, or maybe they weren't drinking enough water, or maybe they weren't taking it at the right time of day. And it could have been such a simple fix that if you just caught it in that first few days, you could have had someone who was super excited for you. So I talked to a lady yesterday and she said, oh, I didn't have the instructions. So I drank the Immune in the afternoon and I had the Trim before I went to bed. And I was like, wow, how was your sleep last night? Now, imagine if she did that for 30 days straight. She would have been miserable, and she would have thought that I was full of it, telling her that she was going to sleep fantastically. But she had just mixed the two products. They were both the two cold products, and she had the hot product. And so in her mind, she was like, well, hot product in the morning, cold and cold. Didn't really matter which one was which. Well, it very much matters which one is which. So I'm darn glad that I talked to her today, and yesterday was her first day with products, because that would have been rough. So that happens a lot where people are like, oh, well, I don't like the taste, so I stopped taking the trim. There's 3 parts to the puzzle and you took one out because you don't like the taste, which means you've only got 2/3 of the effect. And I could have suggested so many things that would have helped you. Try it with lemon juice. Try it with apple cider vinegar. Try it hot like a tea. Elizabeth had a great suggestion. Split it up, she said. Do a little bit, and a little bit, and it'll work throughout the afternoon, and you can choke it down because you don't have to drink as much. I thought that was brilliant. Thank you for that. So even she was already brainstorming with a new rep that might have been struggling and getting on the phone right away with them and saying, what do I do right now that can fix this? And generally, most people go, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, I'll totally do that then. And off they go, and they're happy. So we are the service department in some ways, where if people have a complaint or they have something wrong, you know, if you can get in and get it fixed right away, it's a lot better than letting them get out there with a bad taste in their mouth. So I hope I answered that for you, Chris. I think that's what you were wanting me to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So follow up when the order should be in. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Make sure you refer them if they're doing the 12 and 24 plan. Refer them to 12and24.com. The instructions are really just real simple instructions on the website there. And then, you know, once they have a look and they go through it, a couple days later, you can give them a call again to say, how are you doing? What's going on? Like, follow up, like Leah said. So once they have the product usage instructions, also on that follow-up call, in addition to pointing them to 12 and 24, you want to also encourage them to take measurements. A lot of people will focus on their weight loss. They'll look at the scale and they'll say, okay, this is my scale now, and this is going to be my scale in the future. But what's more important than your scale is your measurements. So you want to take waist measurements, every measurement you can think of, because it's not just pounds, it is inches. And that is, I mean, really that's what we're after anyways, the inches. We're looking at the look of it, right? So, okay, so make a game plan, talk about what the person wants and how they're going to do it and how they're going to get there. Help them feel like you're on their team, okay? That you're there with them every step of the way, and they have all the support they need, and any questions that they're going to have, they can definitely have them answered. There's a number of different places that we suggest during our calls and our welcome calls that they do that. So, okay, so as far as there's somebody coming on,
can everyone hear Chris okay, or is he cutting it out? Is that just me?
Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay.
That's cutting in and out, or if it's your internet?
I think
it keeps saying my internet is too weak or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like you've got some kind of a bad signal, honey. That's the reason why. Anyway.
I know. So you can mute me.
It's a powerful thing, and I'm not going to. Okay. All right. So, that's a product user. Making a game plan for them. Okay, what's the game plan for someone who wants to do this as a business? Typically, someone that wants to do this as a business is not just doing it as a business, they're also wanting to do it as a product as well. They have to be a product of the product. So you need to encourage them exactly the same way that you would a product user, but there's an extra couple steps. One of the things that's real important is to send a welcome email, but not just send it to them, make sure they get it, make sure they know what's in it, and then if you can, if at all possible, go through it step by step. So I'm going to give you some really quick examples. I'm going to try and do this here. I'm going to go to this. Okay, Leah and I have this on here. And if you go into Google in Gmail, I don't know if you guys use Gmail on the computer, but it's quite cool. There's this little button in the corner here. If you take, I'm going to show you this is the default way that an email looks when you open one in inbox. But if you go down up here and you click on this little arrow, okay, you can see it there, and you go like that, it opens up this window, and then there's this little pop-up down here. There's 3 little lines with a document. You click on that, that's your templates. And so if you can save any email that you write as a template, and so then you just go down here and you go welcome email. That's the one, that's what I called it. And so this is our welcome email. So, you know, you can just, you know, wherever you want to put in a person's name, this is where you put it, and you go through it. So little introduction, what to get started with, writing down your username, really simple stuff that maybe you may not talk about because, it's just not something you necessarily talk about, but it's super important. So make sure that you get people to come in here and go through it with them. Write down your username, know your back office, log into your account. What is a back office? Well, I get that question all the time. Talk about 3 to the tree. And this little bit here about making sure that they're setting the rotator to the same team they came in on. You need to tell them, well, you came in on this team. There's back office training, which is a link to 12 and 24. Then you've got a general link to 12 to 24. This is ours. You can add, you can take away, whatever you think should be in there for the person. And then it tells you to go through it. Roadmap to Royal Diamond. Super, super cool document, really important. Excuse me. And then it kind of goes through into, there's a whole bunch of links. And this is where you would say, okay, I want to go through this and I want you to go and, make a plan to do this, to go through these various pieces and then sign it off. Here we go. And put your phone number down there and your email address if you want to. And, this is probably one of the more important ones, actually, to get people involved on Facebook. So the Facebook links that are in here are to various team pages that are used in, okay, that's, I've got something that's putting notifications up on my screen there, so just give me a second, I can turn those off. Hey, maybe I can't.
Hey, Chris, we need to update our email. It says Team Coffee gets results, and they've changed the group name to Team Gets Results now.
Ah, okay. So I guess every now and again you got to go in and update your templates. But this is a great idea. So have a template, put it in there, send it, follow up, make sure they got it, go through it with them, and then make the next appointment. Make the time that you're going to say, hey, did you have a chance to go through it? Did you listen to the most important parts of 12 and 24? Did you go and listen to some of the prospecting tips from Ted Wilson? And, go through it with people and make sure that they realize that information is available to them, because it's real easy to become overwhelmed. So that's an important step, is your email. So share. All right. Now, once you've sent your email and you've got the confirmation that they're going to go through it, you're going to follow up with them. The next step would be business goals. So everybody's going to have some kind of expectation for what.
Sorry, sweetie. I just wanted to mention one more thing before we get into the business goals and things for your reps that you're getting started. Something that we didn't really talk about, but Chris and I have discovered is one of the most important things when you've got a new enrollee and you're setting them out on the right foot. When you shared a vision with this person and you shared a dream with them and they saw that dream, they leave your house or your phone call with that dream and they're excited and they're ready to build and they're heading out into a big bad world full of people who don't see the same dream that they now share with you. And the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to talk to a spouse or a family member or a coworker or a friend who's going to say, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. And they are going to get shot down a little bit and they're going to be a little sad and a little unsure and a little worried, because what if what you said isn't true? Someone that they love and trust just told them it was crazy. And it's called inoculation. Inoculating them from the naysayers, which is going to be everyone else who doesn't understand what they now see, is one of the most important things you can do. Because if you can keep them believing that this is a possibility, they will learn everything else on a pace that they set. And eventually they'll figure it all out. But if you send them out there and you don't warn them that that's going to happen, they don't see that coming, then it's valid to them. As soon as you tell them, just so you know, if everyone in the whole world believed in network marketing, and if everyone in the whole world was in Valentis, we wouldn't be special. We wouldn't have an opportunity. We would be the status quo, and everyone would already.
Well, I don't know if it's the kids that are using up your internet bandwidth, honey, but your upload speed doesn't seem to be keeping up.
They can duck a little bit. If you don't warn them, it's going to hurt. And it's going to happen with everybody. Everyone's going to run into it. But if they know it's coming, it won't be. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out there for a little while. I don't know if the kids are on the computers gaming or something, but your upload speed, I think, is.
Let me just check.
So
hey guys,
I like to. I like to give this kind of like an analogy to flower garden. And the way that works is, you know, you're not going to go and, you know, mix up your soil and put some seeds in there. And the instant that you see a little bud forming coming up for the surface, you're not just going to say, okay, I'm done, and then move on to some other flower garden. That's not how it works. You need to water the flower garden. You need to take the weeds out of it.
Yes.
And that's what Leah was talking about. And that's called gardening. That's called managing, you know, what you have. So it's real important to go and take the time to, that's one of the weeds, is going to be people that are going to be dream stealers, people that are going to come along and say, you know, that was a bad idea. You need to, like Leah said, make sure you address that for people, make sure they're aware that it's going to happen. And that's also something that you can learn about at in that GoPro video that I was talking about, or the audio that I was talking about. He talks about how that's going to affect. Once you make the decision to do network marketing as a business, there is a certain social esteem that comes along with it. You need to be willing to embrace that and say, you know what, I'm making a better choice for my family, for me, and just be strong. So
you can actually turn it into a positive, because if you tell people that it's going to happen and they expect it, they now believe you and they trust you even more because you looked out for them, you had their back, and you were right. So rather than you setting them up for failure, you're actually teaching them, look, I do have your best interest at heart. I can tell you what's going to happen, which means the positive outcome that you tell them is going to happen, they also will believe that now because you also told them about that negative. So rather than just painting this rosy picture, it's called managing expectations. You want to make sure that they're prepared for anything.
I have an idea, sweetie. Kingston, while you're there, look down by your feet. There's a little white cable, and it's not plugged in.
Yep.
And then what you want to do is go and find the place on Mama's computer that that's going to plug into, and that's going to give her a much better signal so we can listen to her without having it sound like she's on a AM radio station.
That's the right one?
Okay. That should be the
I
right
love that
one.
we
Now,
sent our 10-year-old son to fix my computer because I'm useless. Thank you.
okay. So that should be better now. You should have a much better quality.
Okay.
So, business goals. When people are first involved in this, they may have realistic expectations, they may have unrealistic expectations, but you need to set some sort of expectation. And whether or not that's, you know, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever it is that their goal might be, it's important to identify what it is. And it's important to identify what they're willing to do to achieve it. And so once they've decided on what they're going to do, how long it's going to take them to do it, this is also covered in that book. So I would highly recommend that you either get Eric's book or listen to the links that I sent, and you know, listen to what to do about expectations and how to make sure that people know what to do when they come in and have an so here's the thing: if somebody has the right expectation, what's going to happen is their goals are going to be achievable. When goals are achieved, and this is really important, is to set kind of a game plan for them as to, you know, first step, you know, being a legacy qualified Ruby, for example. Maybe that's a goal that they're going to have. Maybe the first step is to get their first enrollment. You got to also be looking, you should be looking in your back office. You should be looking for activity in your back office and notice when somebody is there that has enrolled somebody. Because you're not going to get an email. If one of your reps goes and gets somebody and they join their business, you don't get an email. You don't get a notification. You should
Can I
be in there
actually get a hands up if anybody on this team has experienced that? Has anybody that's been on our team signed into your back office and found a name or some BV or something going on back there that you don't recognize? Anybody ever had that happen to them? Yay!
So it's super important to make sure that you follow up with the people that when that happens, because they're not gonna go and call you and say, hey, look at me, I did this. They're probably gonna sit there and wait for you to give them something because they're saying, I did a great job, I feel really good about this. You know how cool it is to receive a phone call from somebody saying, hey, you did a great job. I'm really proud of what you did. You're reaching your goals. Isn't that great? You're reinforcing, the person gets that positive reinforcement. And yeah, so super important, have a look at your back office. If you haven't gone and looked at your back office, there is back office training, which is available at 1224.life. So that is a lot. We're already at 7:33. I did say that I was going to cut it down a little bit if I could. So I'm going to unmute right now, and we're going to go into question and answers. I want you to think about questions you might have as to how you might bring on a new person, or maybe if you have a comment on how you think people should be brought in properly. We're always interested in what people have to say about that. So I'm going to go unmute all. So you're all going to be, there you go.
So question, Chris. Can you hear Terry?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So in the middle with the Google section, that whole piece in there, I lost you. So is this recorded so I can go back and get it later?
Yeah, we've recorded it.
Okay, is it on your website? Or sorry, your Facebook?
We'll be posting the recording in the TrimTeam group. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just so I can get that one section, I missed it. It went away.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to do this.
So I have a question. Was everyone here brought in with a welcome call?
Yes.
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 Has anybody here not had a welcome call? Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to do it a little differently because there's a lot of background noise. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put everybody on mute, and then if you want to say something, you're allowed to unmute yourself. So reach over and unmute yourself. That way we won't have as much background noise going on.
I also wanted to welcome Noxie. I see you online tonight. And Noxie is brand new to our team. She's also local, so she's also booked into the Langley event, and she's going to be coming out and have a chance to meet everybody. So I can't wait to introduce her to everyone. I know we owe you a few things. We have kind of been two ships in the night. We keep trying to plan some chances to get on the phone and chit chat with each other. But once we do, we're going to get a welcome call for you. We have to make sure that you get your email that you can go through and get all those different, because I see your question. Can you guys add me to your email list? Does that mean that you didn't get a welcome email from us? Okay, I'm wondering if it maybe is either in your junk folder or we don't have the right email address for you. So as soon as this training's over, I'm going to get, you and I can chat, and we'll make sure we get you a copy of that email and get you off to the right start. But super excited that you can come to Langley. That's awesome. You're going to meet Elizabeth and Steve. You're going to meet Mia, Neely, Krista. Are you coming to Langley? Give me a thumbs up, girlfriend. You're muted. Can you give me a thumbs up? Are you coming? Yay! You should. It's on June 24th at 9 a.m. Basically, it starts. Chris, can you unmute her? Do you know how?
I can. One moment.
He has all power.
I have to check my calendar.
Okay, Krista just got back from Ireland and Portugal and all sorts of things exotic, so she's just getting caught up on everything now. But yes, it's in our
significantly jet lagged
in there, and there's some information for registration. George Ho, the formulator of Slim Roast, and Dave Jordan will be there on site. They'll be presenting from stage, so you guys will get to meet the creator of Slim Roast. He has a powerful way to present these products. You'll fall in love with them all over again. And Dave Jordan will be there as well, so that's super exciting. One thing I was going to recommend for that weekend, if you guys write out a list of people that you want to meet. I did that. I had people in my head that I wanted to meet. So if your goal is to get a photo with the CEO, if it's to shake hands with George, if it's to meet, I don't know, Teresa Finley in person, Don Carson, Nancy Carson, whoever it might be, write out a little list and get photos with those people, because that's super cool for presenting to people later on. But as far as this topic, starting new reps off right. So our whole point with Chris and I tonight and all the talking we were doing was just to make sure you establish a 1, 2, 3 step-by-step list that you do certain things, right? You connect with those people, you follow up with people, you set appointments for future follow-up. You're never just trying to enroll them all the time. You're just always sharing. When they do enroll, you call them right away. I see that you joined our team. Wonderful choice. Congratulations. Welcome to the Valentis family. Then you're going to get them on a 3-way welcome call with somebody else on a team. Doesn't matter who that person is. Upline, crossline, downline, whatever. Just get them welcomed by somebody on the team. And then you're going to follow up with them. Usually with Chris and I, we give them a 48-hour window with the Roadmap to Diamond homework. Another little tip for you guys, when you suggest that people do the Roadmap to Diamond training on the 12and24.life website, when we give that homework to people, that is a very quick way to find out who we're going to work with. As leaders, you're going to build large teams, and you're not always going to be able to work with all 10,000 people in your back office. But you can very quickly decide who's serious about their business and who actually wants to grow by who follows simple steps. And the Roadmap to Diamond is a very simple step full of a lot of important tools that are helpful. So if the person's willing to take that much seriously and they go to 12and24.life, they do the training and they print it out. I mean, you invested money in building a business, you have a huge future. It takes, I think, 36 minutes to go through the whole thing. If you can't pull 36 minutes out of your week, you need to reassess your priorities. Something's off in your life if that's going to be difficult for you. So we do the 12 and 24 homework because Chris and I can quickly see, wow, those people are serious. When they call, we drop everything to help them because they deserve it. They're all in. They're investing, so we invest back. And then from the 12 and 24 homework, we follow up when we know that the products are going to arrive. We follow up about a week later just to see how they're feeling, make sure they're taking the products correctly. And then, Chris, another thing that we didn't mention is Chris is an absolute genius when it comes to the back office. And about a week before the end of every month, he goes through our back office and he ensures that every rep on our team has placed their order. Because you would be shocked in how busy people's lives get and they forget to place their order that month. And all of a sudden, someone's lost their status, they've lost their BV, they've lost their paycheck. We have had, I'd say, an average 5 reps a month that Chris has contacted, and it saved them their business. You should have a loyalty order set, but not everybody does. And so he has been absolutely wonderful in doing that. So go through, and you want to give it about a week, because what if their credit card doesn't work? Something happens with the order. You always want to make sure you don't leave it right to the very last day.
I want to speak to that, honey, if I could for a second.
Yeah.
So what I'm noticing is that sometimes credit card information can change. There is an email that comes from Valentis when your loyalty purchase does not go through. However, not everybody checks their email or pays very much attention to the Valentis emails necessarily. And so somebody may have a loyalty order set and just assume that it's going to go through, and it doesn't. And then, you know, they could get, it's an area you get pinched in. So pay attention to your back office. I mean, I just go through and check it, but I don't have everybody's contact information. And there is going to be a reach a point, and it's actually already getting close, where I don't have the contact information for everybody, and I can't follow up with everybody. And so I'm going to have to start maybe delegating that to a few people and helping out with how to do it as your organizations get larger and larger. Maybe, you know what, that might be something we can do later in the month as a Zoom training, where I can quickly go through and show you exactly how to find and identify people who have a Ruby status in this month, but they don't have a Ruby status for next month because they haven't placed their order yet.
Yeah, so that's that gives you also another reason to get a hold of them. So now you're within the last week of the month. So that new rep, you've talked to them at least 4 times already, just from those basic steps. And then now you're discussing their response to the products, how they felt, if you need to customize their product order for the following month. So maybe they need a breakthrough now. Maybe they didn't get great results and it's time for them to cleanse. So maybe you can suggest that for the next order or whatever it needs to be. And then again, you're going to follow up with them again. And that's the follow-up that Chris and I do, even if we have a new rep. Now, on top of that, if they're building a business, you're going to have a lot more interaction anyway, every day, because they're going to be messaging you about people that they're trying to share with, or they might have a 3-way call they want you to jump on, or whatever it may be. So keep in mind that you need to hit those steps kind of as a minimum, and then there's going to be a lot of extra stuff that's going to roll in around that. So does that make sense for everyone, as far as kind of a bit of a step-by-step checklist that you can go through when you're bringing people on and you're sharing? Awesome. Okay. And does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to cover? It doesn't have to be topic related. It could just be a question that you've come across this week in your business, or talking to somebody, or if you want to, we might have time for a really great share. Oh, I know. I'm going to pick on somebody. We're going to have the success share from this week. Mia, if you can take yourself off of mute and share your post from today, darling.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. So I've hit my 1 week mark, obviously. As
1 week?
I know, one week. That's it. I have not been to the gym. I have not been watching what I have been eating, but I will tell you this: I have been drinking so much water, and that's obviously thanks to the coffee, the trim, doing the 12 and 24. I'm down 9 pounds and 11 inches. I don't know how.
Yay! I'm meeting everybody. Everybody, yay!
Yeah, I took my measurements, jumped on the Zoom training. I feel amazing. It has not interfered with any of my epilepsy medication whatsoever. Something new, right? Yeah, took my measurements before we got started, and next is going to be taking a photo, I guess, for progress. I've also been keeping a journal, for posterity. Yeah, I think some of my next goals are going to be coming up pretty quick here. Dropping 20 pounds was the first one on my vision board, and the next one after that is training for a 10K, which I start on Thursday of this week. So lots to do.
That is so exciting, Mia. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, no problem. I'm happy to share it. I mean, I've forgotten all the English. Like, that's how excited I am. I can't.
So how important is it for you to recommend to your the new people that join your business? How important is it going to be for you to tell them take your measurements?
It's going to be pretty important, and to actually trust your eyes is going to be my biggest piece of advice, because I thought, no, there's no way. I must have taken my measurements probably 4 or 5 times, thinking, was it this high up on my thigh? Was it low? Right? I'm trying to remember, but sure enough, all of my measurements have been fairly consistent. The half dozen times I decided to try and trick myself into thinking that it's not possible, but it really is. I'm flabbergasted, really.
Wonderful.
That's super exciting.
Thank you for sharing.
So now we have time for one obstacle. Has anybody run into anything this week that was a bit of a discouragement or a downturn or something that they struggled with that you would be willing to share with the team? And hopefully as a team, we can tackle it for you and all together help you overcome that so that it's not something that
Leah,
in the future.
Leah.
Yeah.
Terry here.
Hi, Terry.
Before we move on, Tiara has been listening in.
I see her.
And I've got Spence on the way. We got to go get him in a hockey practice tonight. And so what I thought, maybe there's one more success that maybe the group would want to listen to with Tiara's story, what she's kind of dealing with down there with her daughter and so on. Maybe that could come out.
That's a great idea, Terry. Thank you very much for that suggestion. Tiara, if you'd like to take a moment to introduce yourself to the group, we're very glad you could join us. She is joining us all the way from Texas tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So it's pretty cool how large this team will grow and how quickly. I think it's fantastic how we get to meet people from all over the world that we wouldn't necessarily have in our lives. So Tiara, you are up. You have the microphone, my dear. Share with us a little bit about your journey so far.
Yeah, sure. Hi. My name is Tiara, and I was brought in by Wendy and Terry Kent. And well, my story, it has nothing to do basically with me. It has to do with my daughter who has type 1 diabetes. And she has had diabetes now since 2012 when she was diagnosed. And she is, she's a short girl and she's very overweight and struggling a lot with everything that she's going through. Well, since I've had her on Valentis now for, it's going to be 14 days. And we did before pictures and we did after pictures, which were just a couple of days ago with her being on them for 12 days, not even 2 weeks. And we did not do any weight we know her starting weight, but we're not going to weigh her in for another 2 weeks. But she has lost, I know she has lost a lot of inches. I mean, because you can just totally tell that she has just lost inches. It's amazing. And her sugar levels have come down with the Valentis products. Her energy level is up, where she is walking on the treadmill every day. Yeah, so it's really amazing to see the difference in this young lady's.
That's a wonderful, wonderful testimony. This is what it's all about, Tiara. That's what it's all about.
I'm just really blessed.
It's giving her life back.
Absolutely.
How old is she?
She is 24.
Can you please keep us posted with her journey and with your story together as a mother and daughter? I'm very interested to know where this takes her. I believe that your story is going to be one that will touch many, many lives. And I believe that this is just the beginning of what is going to be a wonderful testimony that I know there's other girls out there like her. And I know that when you share this story, I can picture you on stage with a microphone in your hand one day with thousands of people listening, knowing a loved one out there. Diabetes is my family, very strong way, and I know the struggle with this disease. And I believe that if you continue with this, if you journal this story and you journal this testimony, you will help many, many lives.
Yes, we have a journal that we have started.
Good.
You know, there's a lot of you know, issues, you know, with having diabetes. One major one is eyesight.
Yep.
And she wears glasses, but she has noticed, you know, even myself, we've noticed that our eyesight has gotten a lot better.
Yep.
You know, which is amazing. It's like, oh, okay. We're not saying that we're going to drop our glasses, you know, or anything like that. But I mean, for a diabetic, you know, when your sugar goes low, your vision gets impaired. And it's very important because, you know, I do have a 1-year-old granddaughter that she drives around with, and it was a big concern. And this is, you know, taking her, 12 days, 14 days. What is it going to do in 3 months, a year, you know? So, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's so fantastic.
Thank you.
And thank you, Terry, for introducing Tiara to our group and welcoming her aboard. We're very, very glad to have you guys. And that story is powerful. You're right. We needed to hear that because you guys need to hear how these journeys are more powerful than just weight loss. These are literally people's lives being given back to them. And when Chris and I first started, we started with the goal of weight loss. And now our goal is changing lives. And it's so much bigger than just the weight. It is, I sleep. I can't even tell you how important that is alone because everything else revolves around that. There's so many things that are so powerful. So as we're watching those scales, make sure you're looking for other things in your life as well that you can gauge. My feet aren't cold anymore. Like Tiara said, eyesight getting better, blood sugars being more stabilized, not crashing in the afternoon, migraines being less, PMS symptoms being reduced. The list goes on and on. Menopause, less hot flashes. There's such a powerful long list. Yeah, exactly, Elizabeth. So if you guys keep track of those things, then when you're talking to people, speaking of bringing new reps on, when you're talking to somebody who might be 120 pounds and 5'6" and looks fantastic, maybe she's diabetic. Maybe she doesn't sleep properly. Maybe she is exhausted because her blood sugar crashes hard. So it's not always about weight loss. We have to ask people what it is in their life that they're looking for. And if you guys noticed in TrimTeam recently, I did a post on value, that not everyone has the same definition of what's expensive. If someone had looked at Chris and I when we were first approached with Valentis, they would have been, oh, don't even ask them about the business builder pack. They can't even buy groceries. And definitely don't ask them about products because they can't even afford groceries. And nobody would have enrolled us. And then where would we be? without the one opportunity that changed our lives, without the one thing that made it so that not only could we afford groceries, we make more than a full-time income now. Somebody may not have given us that opportunity, and we might not have had the ability to make a difference. So never judge, because Tiara, your story, I'm guessing what you're telling me, the value that you're getting out of this for your daughter is something that, for me, I mean, you're grateful to hand that money over every month and purchase these products if you know what it's doing within your family. So it becomes greater than just the cost. And what your story with me, it held value. There's a value there, and that is what we're looking for in Valentis. We're trying to find that value so we can change people's lives.
Lee, I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
And, when you're saying, about the expense as far as, the Valentis prices and stuff like that. And it's really funny because, my daughter has been put on so much medication to help lower her A1C.
Right.
A lot of medication that's not covered by health insurance. She's had to put out $1,200 a month for an injection that the doctor has prescribed her. This is how desperate people, well, I'm not going to say people, my daughter and us have been.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're paying $130 a month versus $100 a month. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
Wow.
And an injection, this is something that you just mix and drink.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's absolutely a no-brainer. And for someone who is looking to better their health, no matter what their health issues are, or just, energy in general, all I've got to say is if you really, really want it bad enough, you will stop complaining and do what you need to do.
Amen.
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly. If you want something bad enough, you will make it happen. I agree.
Yes.
Absolutely. You are right. Thank you very much. I now have a new analogy, because I always tell the story of, if you wake up in the morning and someone slashed all the tires on your car, you have to get to work. You're going to find $400 to buy new tires to get to work, because you just have to. And now, did you hear Tiara say you've got $1,200 a month going towards one injection? That
does absolutely nothing. Did not work at all.
Oh my word.
And we did it for 6 months.
Wow.
So
I am so glad you are in Valentis and part of our team. Welcome aboard. This is fantastic. I look forward to hearing more from you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
Does anybody else have an obstacle that you came across this week that was a bit of a stumbling block for you that we can help you out with? Or are you stuck on something that you feel is holding you back that we might be able to address? We've only got about another 3 minutes, and then we're going to stop the recording for the night. So if anybody has something quick they want to jump on with, now's a good time. Wow, we're doing a really good job. Yay!
Wonderful.
I know, we've also kept everybody on mute, so that was the smartest way to do it. So what we'll do then is we're just going to take this as a first step towards a bit of a series. Chris and I would like to attack this on a deeper level as well. So starting new reps off right, there is a checklist. Eventually we're going to go through what does that checklist look like, some of those details on the checklist, like Chris said, learning your back office. How do you find the reps you haven't placed your order yet? We can share our email with you. Oh yes, make sure you go through GoPro. That was our handbook when Chris has listened to it. How many times have we listened to it, Chris? 4?
At least.
Yeah, we listened to it over and over and over again. And then it's funny because when you get to a different stage in your business, every time you hear it again, it applies to something new, because now you're at a different stage. You've grown to a different level. And so we'll listen to it again and go, oh yeah, we're supposed to do this and this.
This document is in TrimTeam group, and it's one of the higher posts. You can see it right there, and you can just go through and you can click these links. Even on your phone, it'll work.
Something else, you guys, I'm not sure if you've done this, but there's a files tab on TrimTeam, and I put files in there of information. I don't know if you guys have ever gone through this, but if you want to take a look at it, it is full of all sorts of information. So here's your files tab. I keep all sorts of ingredients lists. I put pictures in there. There's a memory jogger weight loss accelerant pack guidelines, tax write-off tips, benefits of Slim Roast, an email template that you can use for new reps. There's so much stuff in there. Even the roadmap to Royal Diamond is right there as a PDF. So there's a cool resource for you guys. You can scroll through that and take a look at some of the stuff back there. Some of it becomes outdated as new products come out or new things are done. So I have to go through and I fix it every once in a while. So if you guys are ever in there and you catch something, please let me know, because you would just be helping me. I try to do that in my spare time. So if you guys come across a picture that's outdated or some information that's old, please let me know. I would love that. And our group is interactive. I know that I'm the one posting in there, but if you guys come across a great article, if you see a movie that's helpful, if you could find an awesome file, please add it. It's supposed to be a combination of everyone on the team, and it's supposed to be everybody contributing and helping each other grow. So I like it when it's somebody else's name other than just mine. I'm pretty plugged in with a lot of different groups and a lot of different trainings, so I tend to come across a lot of content and put it up there. But if you guys find stuff, please, you're more than welcome. So we'll do a quick take everybody off of mute, and everyone can have a chance to say hello and good night to each other.
Thank you so much. Thank you for a great Zoom call. It was awesome to meet all of you, Kiara. I love your testimony about your daughter. I work with somebody actually who is on an insulin pump, and she has an 8 or a 9-year-old daughter actually who is type 1 diabetic as well. She had to start getting needles when she was about 11 months old. So this is really very, very important. I know that the product is incredible, and it's so much more than weight loss. The testimonies that I'm reading are just absolutely incredible. And yours, again, is just another testimony of how powerful this product is to transform people's lives, and how it's my job to give them the information, and then they can make up their own mind. You know, I'm not going to be prejudiced and not give it to them, but I don't want to do them a disservice by not telling them about it. Then make up your own mind, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what, just hearing your testimony is incredible, and I just want to thank you for sharing that.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. Great. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for another great Zoom call. Thank you.
Good night, Neely. Good night, Krista.
Hey, thank you. I was listening the whole time.
I know, I saw you. Thumbs up.
Yeah, I was making your birthday cake while I was listening.
I saw cheesecake.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm so excited.
Shotgun sitting right beside Leah.
You're only doing that so you get some of the cake, because I'm going to eat it all.
Hey, I'm going to have some too.
2 forks, 1 plate.
Have fork will travel.
Yeah. Holy fork.
Yeah.
Should I bring a fork and knife, or?
Pack your fork and knife.
Okay, sorry. We digress. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us and taking time out. We will definitely keep trying to do this at least once a week. We really love seeing your faces and being plugged in. I miss you guys when we don't do the Zooms, and I feel like our team stays and keeps our momentum once we stay plugged in and we check into each other, because this weekly group should be a bit of an accountability group as well. You can see who's Zooming. You can see who has success to share. And so when you're on here and you make yourself visible to that team, we check in with each other and we become accountable to each other, and that just helps us grow. So thank you very, very much for taking time. And hi, Ryan. And we will definitely.
Oh, it's so cute, Ryan.
Neely, I want to give you
definitely try and do this while we're on the road as well.
Neely, I wanted to give you props on something. I recently went to your Facebook page, and I hadn't been there for a while, and I just wanted to give you kudos for putting together something of really good quality. And I want that to be, that's like the example for how to build a proper Valentis type Facebook page. And so if you haven't seen it, I think, with your permission, I think I'm going to post a link to it in the TrimTeam group. so that
Yeah.
people go and have a look at it, have a look at what you've done with it, how you've put the post together. And what's great about a Facebook page is, maybe we'll get this in another training, but you can do something called a boost post with your Facebook pages, and you can advertise them. Later
Yeah.
on, it's a little more of an advanced way of growing your business. But if you were to model, the first thing you need before you do any of that stuff is to have good quality content on your page, which direct people in order to get.
You need to mute everybody.
Mute all. Mute all. I even muted myself, so how about that? So yeah, just kudos. And we can end there. Okay, I'm ending the recording.